Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today. We're pleased to have you. I'm Andronika Morris, President and Chair of the Greater New Orleans Housing Alliance. We are going to be getting started right now with our press conference today to talk about a pressing issue on the minds of New Orleanians. We've got two speakers who are joining us. First up is going to be Logan Burke with the Alliance for Affordable Energy, and then followed by her is going to be Reverend Manning, one of our local faith-based leaders here in New Orleans, who has been a fighter around our utility issues. So I'm going to close us out with a brief presentation on some other matters that GNOHA is going to be talking about, and then we'll take questions. So without further ado, I'm going to turn everything over to Logan. Thank you.
Hi there, everyone. Again, I'm Logan Burke. I'm the Executive Director for the Alliance for Affordable Energy. This past July, Entergy filed a request with the council to increase both electric and gas bills in New Orleans by about $64 million. At the time, Entergy blamed that increase on renewable energy and the council's efforts to take action on climate. This was untrue. Our analysis shows that the main drivers of Entergy's expected rate increase were actually an increasing investment on fossil gas infrastructure and remaining impacts from COVID. An outpouring of frustration and requests to the council to hold Entergy accountable and not let these rates spike led advocates like the Alliance and GNOHA to engage with the council to try and find a solution for this before winter. Yesterday, at the urging of residents, the full council took action on a resolution that committed bill credits, to go on customer bills. Entergy also committed to reductions in their asks, and together, these efforts will mitigate an Entergy bill spike to protect customers through the winter, in particular on the electric side of the bill. On the gas side of customers' bills, the council put forward an ordinance yesterday on first reading to use $5 million from the city's COVID relief funds, the ARPA funds, to help reduce the impacts of increasing gas bills through the winter. If the full council approves this measure next week and the mayor agrees, those additional funds will help mitigate the impact of both Entergy's gas infrastructure increases and the doubling of gas costs in the market. What is very clear is that New Orleans needs to wind down our reliance on gas. As I mentioned, natural gas prices have doubled since last year, and that's in the market, the international market. And that's partly as a result of LNG exports according to the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. So not only will these volatile costs of gas continue to make bills unpredictable, the costs of more fossil fuel infrastructure in our city will continue to grow bills. We are concerned that this will make winter difficult for families, and we encourage people to participate in the Energy Smart program if at all possible. In addition, we encourage folks to reach out to their council members and to the mayor to encourage them to make sure that this $5 million is made available and applied so that we can mitigate more of those impacts on folks' bills this winter. I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you, Logan. Thank you so much. And we're going to be taking questions after all of our guests speak. I'm turning things over now to Reverend Gregory Manning.
Well, good morning, everyone. Again, I'm Reverend Gregory Manning of Broadmoor Community Church, where no perfect people are allowed. I'm thinking back to several years ago, maybe two now, where Entergy established a new slogan and new messaging that said they had a pathway to progress, I believe it was. And I deemed it at that time not a pathway to progress, but a pathway to poverty and more poverty. And it needs to be a pathway that does not put profit over people. It needs to be a pathway that leads to protection of people. We're going to see, as many of us know, we're going to see more catastrophes like this. We don't know what the winter is going to look like, but we know what the winter looked like for some when They were left out, left in the dark and in the cold when the electricity went out. And we know the devastating effects that we're still dealing with from Ida, and that people are still recovering. Just to echo what Logan said, we need for people to stand tall and to be bold and to demand that these gas prices do not be doubled. We cannot at all suffer such a tremendous hit to our community at this time. What happens with recovery is that we remember when people who are in charge or people who have power are being hit by it. We remember that. And then quickly it wanes as we take off masks, as people begin to go back to work, as festivals come back. We stop remembering that there are people that are still hurting. I, as a pastor, am dealing with phone calls every day from people who are food insecure, housing insecure, and absolutely utility insecure, that are dealing with utility poverty. So what we must do at this moment is not forget that people have not come back, people have not recovered, that people are still very much afraid of what this next season will bring. And so we are asking, and I am asking, that every candidate, while they were on the front line, or every council person or every city official, while they were on the front line in the trenches during recovery, handing out food at distribution centers, that they would not forget once they are elected that those who are underserved and those that are most vulnerable have still not yet recovered. And we must put protections in place that put people above profit. And the profit for Entergy is from gas and fossil fuels. And we as a city, if we're going to live as and I close here, if we're going to live as a city that has been climate changed and not a city that is simply responding to climate change, we have to begin putting safe measures and safety nets in place that really give us the understanding that there are people who are not being protected against those who want to profit off of fossil fuel and oil and gas. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Reverend Manning, for that. And also, Reverend Manning has talked very eloquently about, the people that he ministers to, but there's also another population that's often ignored, that's often left out, that's often not discussed, and it is our culture bearers. It is our the people who make New Orleans, New Orleans. And here today to talk about them and how they think about this crisis and this issue in this season that we're in is Asali Ecclesiastes, Executive Director of Ashe Cultural Arts Center.
Good morning. It is my pleasure to speak to you about this issue this morning because it's so close to our hearts. And thank you, Logan and Reverend Manning, for setting the stage for us, for appealing to both our intellect and our emotions about this. And where we as culture bearers land is that it is time for our leaders to fight for us, to stand up for us. We're talking about the recovery part of this, but the fact of the matter is, in normal times, New Orleanians are the third most burdened by energy costs in the entire country. That's not fair. That is not commensurate with our quality of life. It's not commensurate with our wages and incomes. And it is time, the disparities that have been laid bare by the climate changed. Thank you so much, Reverend Manning, for saying that. The climate has changed, and we're continuing to behave as if it has not. We're continuing to let business interests lead. It's time to let culture lead. Culture says to heal. Culture says to repair. Culture says that our leaders are accountable to us who vote for them, and we are demanding that now. You may not let this corporation burden further the people of New Orleans for their profits. We demand better of you. You know us, you look us in the eye all the time. You tell us you are with us. It is time to show and to prove. Or in New Orleans, as we say, show me better than you can tell me. I expect all of my elected leaders, you are my leader, to lead for the people in this matter.
Thank you so much for that, Asali. Thank you both. Thank all of you for being here today. And we also we echo that. We echo that here at the Greater New Orleans Housing Alliance. And that's why last week we made the decision ahead of releasing our annual, well, not annual, but our regular and routine Put Housing First scorecard. We made the decision to hold the city council grades when we knew that there was there was an opportunity and a need for the council to act. And while yesterday's decision certainly is a step in the right direction, we need to ensure that our council members are taking their job seriously, not simply taking the first step or one step in the right direction, that it has to be consistent, that they have to put housing first. And so that's why today we are releasing the full scorecard, and we're going to share it on our screen so you guys can see it. So the full scorecard allows for us to talk about who has, there you go, we got it. It shows also the grades for mayor, for the citywide elections for city council, the district council seats, assessor, sheriff, and for the state representative seat for the West Bank. And as you can see with these grades, there's a wide range of grades. We've given you all details about that. There's going to be more in a press release about that, and we can answer some questions about that in a few minutes. But the highlight of this is that we've got incumbents who have failed to put housing first. We have we've got council members who acted this week and took a good first step, but we had to also hold them accountable for the fact that it took people power to get them to make the right decision. And they've got to remember that the people ultimately are the ones who make the decisions, who decide whether or not they're doing a good job and return them to office. And so these scorecards are a guide. This is looking at the data. This is looking at the effort. It is looking at the impact and saying whether or not these folks have put housing first. So